In a previous video I built these ramps and the marble pump, and in this video I'm going to build the bowls, the zigzag, the ski jump, the seesaw, and the flip-flop element. These bowl elements are always fun because it takes the marble a long time to fall through, so I'm going to make some on my lathe. And last time I used my lathe on a video I got comments about using it unsafely. So to those concerned about my safety, please don't watch that because you may not know this, but commenting on a YouTube video doesn't actually make a difference. Now for a bit of sanding, I'm going to run it in reverse. Hey look, 10 fingers and no blood. I have a hard time mounting blocks like that exactly centered on a lathe, so I actually made them a little bit bigger, and I know I want them 96mm final size, so I can just hold a caliper making sure I got the same gap here and mark exactly where I need to cut them. I cut a dado in the bottom of the bowls so they could be easier to place over the ramps, so let's give this all a try. I want to make some zigzag blocks similar to this one, but this time around I want to carve these with my router pantograph. So I printed the pattern from my CAD program for the zigzag at twice the scale, and the dark lines here are actually the outline I need to trace. So I glued a copy of that onto some hardboard and cut out a template, and I can follow that with my stylus. Now, a problem with the pantograph is as I move up and down, the angle of the router bit changes. So I shimmed it up in the back so that when I get it at the final depth of cut with the router, this would be the final depth of cut here, then the router is actually vertical. And I just have to be careful when I make my non-final cuts that I don't trace the stylus all the way to the edges of the template. Now, routing stuff makes for a lot of airborne dust, so I set this up so that I'm sitting right in the airstream coming out of my homemade air cleaner. As I made more, I got progressively better, but man, does that make a lot of shavings everywhere. The next track elements I want to build is a seesaw type ramp like this one, a ski jump ramp, and a flip-flop which divides the marbles into alternate streams. And I've already made some one-to-one printouts for these things I'm going to need, and I cut some wood, some thicker stuff for the middle layer, and thinner stock for the outside layers. So I just glued on the ski jump template on here, and I'll cut that out on the bandsaw. For the side pieces of the ski jump ramp, I just cut one from a template, and I'm just going to use that one to mark a whole bunch more, because these don't need to be super accurate. In one of these, for the marble to actually want to roll out when it's done rolling back and forth, I need to create a slight indentation down here that goes just over halfway across the track. Now that will create a slight bump, so I don't want to make it too deep, because every time it goes across it, it costs it energy. But it does need to reach just to the middle to give that marble a little bit of a reason to roll off to the side and out the exit. One of the trickiest things to get working is the flip-flop here, and I haven't actually glued this together yet. So I'm just testing that it works. I cut out this shape here with a bandsaw from a template. Wasn't that exciting, so I didn't film it. Lining up the pins on these is very critical, so I'm just sticking the nail in there so I can visually check it as I put it together, that nail isn't at a funny angle. And now just slide it around to make sure the fit is good. It's best to make sure this toggles in there freely before doing final assembly. And the next thing I do is I cut that nail so it doesn't stick out the other side when I pound it in. And now put the nail back in through the hole. And it's flush here now, it doesn't stick out this side, and this thing still works.